अस्सलाम वालेकुम, दिस इज़ निम्रा फ्रॉम CXO फोरम। और जैसे कि आपको पता है कि हमारा जो आज का शो है इसमें हम अपने सी लेवल्स को इंट्रोड्यूस करवाते हैं आपसे। CXO फोरम इज़ एन इमर्जिंग ग्लोबल प्लेटफॉर्म जिसको ऑलरेडी पाकिस्तान और पाकिस्तान से बाहर बहुत से जो सी लेवल्स हैं वो ज्वाइन कर चुके हैं। और हमारा आज का जो शो है, इस शो का यही मकसद है कि उन सी लेवल्स को, हमारे जो मेंबर्स हैं, हम उनको अपने शो पे इनवाइट करते हैं, उनसे बातें करते हैं और हम आपको भी उनसे मिलवाते हैं। तो हमारे जो आज के गेस्ट हैं, ही इज मिस्टर अदनान सिद्दीकी और करंटली ही इज बेस्ड इन दुबई एंड वर्किंग he is working for IBM Middle East and looking after enterprise retail industry of IBM. तो बाकी हम उनसे बातें करते हैं और उनसे पूछते हैं कि करंटली व्हाट ही इज अप टू और उनके एकेडमिक करियर के बारे में जानते हैं। अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर, वेलकम।
वालेकुम सलाम निम्रा, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर इनवाइटिंग मी।
सर कैसे हैं आप, ठीक ठाक हैं?
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह।
सर हम आपका इंटरव्यू बाद में स्टार्ट करेंगे, लेकिन प्लीज सबसे पहले आप बताएं, टेल अस अबाउट योरसेल्फ, अबाउट योर एकेडमिक करियर एंड हाउ डिड यू रीच देयर।
जी ज़रूर। आपने पहले ही बताया कि मैं जो हूँ वो IBM मिडल ईस्ट में इस वक्त काम कर रहा हूँ और आई एम लुकिंग आफ्टर द enterprise retail accounts in the Middle East. So I'm kind of focusing only on the retail industry, which is the biggest industry in this region. Before that, I was in Pakistan about 8 years back, and my last job was I was the country general manager for Pakistan and Afghanistan. And basically, I've been with IBM almost all my life, except for the very first year when I worked for Citibank right after graduation. And even before the end of that first year, I moved to IBM, and since then I've been with IBM. I've done my bachelor's in computer science from FAST. In our days, it used to be called FAST ICS. And I am from the third batch of FAST Karachi, because it used to be only in Karachi at that point. And then I did my MBA from IBA, again Karachi. And later in my career, I also did a strategic management program sponsored by IBM at London Business School.
Great. So, sir, what is the future of e-commerce you see in Pakistan?
Peggy ji, the future of e-commerce is very, very, very bright in Pakistan, especially because, first of all, majority of our population, is youth. So we are probably one of the youngest nations on average in the world right now. And the youth is, youth is always forward-looking, no matter where they live, which part of Pakistan they live. So that's one reason that we have got a huge buyer base. That's one reason. The other is that we have got networks, very strong networks, right? So like our telcos have reached probably they have already covered more than 70% of all of Pakistan, so which is a requirement. Payment systems could be an issue, but those issues are also being resolved very quickly. And within Pakistan, I don't think there is an issue with payment systems. You can always do it locally. And one more thing, basically, if you look at Alibaba, I mean, I always give this example. If you look at Alibaba, when Alibaba started from Jack Ma's apartment, China was not at all ready for e-commerce. Their situation was even far worse than any other country for e-commerce. But
Hmm.
with the explosion of e-commerce, with the expansion of Alibaba itself, the whole ecosystem developed, and then the
Hmm.
regulators and the government, everybody actually was mobilized to create the ecosystem for the success of e-commerce, right? So there are two
Hmm.
ways of doing something. One, you keep waiting for the government to do something, or the second is you start doing something and then make it so successful that people have to come along, whether it's the government, regulators, common man.
हम्म सर, अभी पाकिस्तान की हम बात करें और पूरी दुनिया की बात करें, दुनिया जो है वो अब डिजिटल हो रही है, डिजिटाइजेशन की तरफ जा रही है। और स्पेशली जब कोविड-19 आया तो उसके बाद तो इंक्लूडिंग पाकिस्तान, बाकी दुनिया जितनी भी कंट्रीज हैं उन सब ने अपना काम, एजुकेशन, सारी चीजें डिजिटली हैंडल की हैं। स्टिल पाकिस्तान अभी बाकी कंट्रीज से थोड़ा सा पीछे है। तो आप क्या समझते हैं, हाउ वी कैन बिकम अ डिजिटल कंट्री?
अब एक तो ये कि माजरत से मैं आपसे एग्री नहीं करता कि हम पीछे हैं। उसकी वजह ये है सिंपली कि आई डोंट नो हम किस तरह से कंपेयर करते हैं, लेकिन मैं मिडल ईस्ट में हूँ इतने अरसे से, बाहर जाके रहता हूँ काफ़ी काफ़ी अरसे के लिए। आई डोंट थिंक वी आर नॉट digital country. I'm not saying 100%, of course. We are not not the best example of being digital, but we are quite digital actually. I mean, for youngsters, probably they compare our current status with the outside world, with the developed countries. But if you ask me, the kind of progress Pakistan has made over the last 15 years, 20 years. Uh, I mean, I don't think many countries have done that, including India. India's own infrastructure is not at all I mean, they may be the supplier of IT skills to the whole world, but their own infrastructure is not at par with our infrastructure. If you look at services, look at Nadra, look at our you know our passport, ID cards, NICOPs. I mean, you ask me, and I'll keep telling you about so many things that we have done, which and before time, which other countries are still struggling to do. I'm not talking about small countries.
Yes.
Small countries like UAE, I mean, they can do it. Everything is in their control. But achieving something like this in a country like Pakistan is a big achievement. Yes. Now,
Definitely.
coming to what the youth see as the difference, right? That is different, right? And that will get better with the overall economy of the country. It's actually a catch-22 situation, right? Which will come first? I mean, nobody can say. So it has to go hand in hand that we keep working on digital initiatives. The government keeps helping us, and at the same time, we develop the further develop the infrastructure. And when I say government to help us, it doesn't mean, I don't know what people say when they always say that if the government help us, I can do this, or if the government help us, we can do that. The government's role is basically to provide an environment, to provide legislation, to uh, provide the things that only the government can provide as the state. So if the government is doing that, all the rest is up to us, private individuals. Look at the freelancers. We have become the third largest freelancers country in the world.
Yes.
Well, I can go on and on, but
और सर, जैसे कि अभी आपने फ्रीलांसिंग की बात की, हाउ वी कैन मेक पीपल फाइनेंशियली लिटरेट और enabled?
well, frankly, again, pardon me for my optimism, But again, I think because of Easy Pesa and people have forgotten about other names, but Easy Pesa is the one that has stuck, so it has become a generic name. But because of all these different payment, you know, I would say vehicles payment. I mean, people have become a lot literate, because of the reach of cell phone, and
Hmm.
because of these payment solutions or payment tools like Easy Pesas and all. I don't remember
Hmm.
all the names and all the
Jazz
brands.
Cash.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes, exactly. And then because of the microfinance sector, which has really, really grown over the last so many years. We used to have one or two microfinance banks, and they were not very efficient as well. But right now, because of the private sector, or people, those who have, like a Huat, for instance, is a big name.
Hmm.
Organizations like Ahuat and others. There is another organization run by a lady from Lahore. I forgot the name. So
Hmm.
these organizations have actually brought efficiency into the microfinance sector, as well as
Hmm.
competition for the incumbent
Kash Foundation
incumbent
you were talking about?
Kashf, yes, Kashf,
Hmm.
right? So now, First Microfinance or Khoshali and all that, they have
Hmm.
also, they have also become, definitely better and more efficient than before. So I
Hmm.
think the financial literacy is there. Now over here, what I think the government can do is to basically educate the masses further. And
Hmm.
I remember that, long time back, there was a time when the state-run TV channel was a very important platform from where the government used to educate people, the masses. Fine.
Hmm.
Now, nobody probably watches the state channel, but then there are so many other channels, of course. There are, and you don't have to use those channels only. There is social media.
Hmm.
There are other things. So even TikTok, I mean, to spread very crisp and clear messages across the huge population. I mean,
Hmm.
these tools should be used. So in order to accelerate the financial literacy, the government should help in this area, educating the population, educating the
Yes.
masses.
Hmm. Sir, how do you see freelancing in Pakistan, and why it is only restricted to IT sector?
Very simple. I mean, we
Hmm.
all have focused on IT, right? We have
Hmm.
focused at one point in time. We were completely focused on telecommunications.
Hmm.
So whatever you focus on, right? Whatever there is, whatever has demand, people, of course, go for that.
Hmm.
So a lot of investors, government, and others, they saw that there is a potential in teaching IT and telecommunications and these subjects. So we created a large, very huge, educated and trained workforce, right? And then
Hmm.
when this workforce could not find jobs, because everybody in our country, looks for any fresh graduate would want to get a good job, right,
Hmm.
at a multinational, preferably, or a good organization. But we created such a huge supply of IT skills that, lucky for them, lucky for Pakistan, that they found their domain in freelancing.
Hmm.
And because of their skills, their professionalism, low pricing, I mean, people started, giving attention to Pakistan. Again, this could not have been possible without the telecommunications infrastructure, which was in place, by the way, right?
Hmm.
So, I think this was the reason. there is tremendous pressure. There is tremendous potential for other services as well, by the way, right? But the thing is, we would not find a critical mass of other professions or other fields, right? Maybe in one or two fields you would find, let's say in accounting or in finance, you would find people. But then, it's very difficult to look for industries that can benefit from freelancing, and then having people in Pakistan to fulfill that, right? Like for instance, uh, now I'm seeing these telemedicine sites, right? Now, where I've come across only one, but I've heard that there are others as well. But the one that I've come across, they have basically involved uh, women, those who have not been practicing medicine, right? And now they are practicing medicine, from their homes, right? Through telemedicine. So this is kind of freelancing. They are not employed by that company. They have just a loose contract with them to be able to do freelancing through their platform. Yes, there we are doing it. But then I can just think of two or three things. Maybe we can do more. We should look for more avenues. There are definitely a lot more avenues where we can, participate. Pakistan can participate.
Sir, how do you see youth of Pakistan?
I mean, which way do you want me to? I mean, put in potential wise.
Yes.
See, Pakistan's youth is they have potential, no doubt about it. Whether they are very well educated and even in some instances not so well educated, but they are clever. If you compare Pakistani youth with any other youth anywhere else in the world, or if you see them in action outside Pakistan working with other nationalities, you can see the difference, right? That they are really good. The thing lacking is training and professionalism, right? Now that is something which is lacking. When I say training and professionalism, I'm not talking about all fields, as I said, right? But like, for instance, we have got, as I said, that we have got a huge, population of younger people, and they should be trained, in different vocations, right? And then they can be useful in Pakistan, outside Pakistan, whether it's some very old professions are automobile mechanics or AC mechanics, or these people. And then once they are trained professionally, then they can be very useful, right? Because there is always demand for such skills. But what I've seen is, if I will engage an Indian AC mechanic, for instance, or Indonesian AC mechanic, right, or a Pakistani, I can tell you the difference without even knowing about their nationalities, because of their professionalism. One is that a trained person would always do things, professionally, in the sense that he would always come, try to isolate the problem, and then try to propose a couple of options, and then try to convince you professionally, technically, that why this thing is being done and why this thing is important. A Pakistani youth would walk in and he would say, "Sir ji, badal le isko," right? And this is a very very common thing. फिर वो आपको कह के जाएगा कि मैं आपको 2 दिन में ये वापस करूंगा, और फिर वो 4 दिन बाद भी आप उसको फोन करेंगे तो आपसे एक्सक्यूज कर रहा होगा. This is a very common thing. This is is only lack of profession, nothing else. Professionalism, lack of professionalism, and lack of training, proper training.
Hmm.
Uh, if you look at diploma engineers and associate engineers of 25, 30 years back, you would be surprised how professional these guys were, and how many how they have succeeded in their lives. But I suppose now this thing is lacking. Professionalism is lacking, which is basically lack of proper training and grooming.
Sir, how do you empower others?
I mean, as in my team.
Hmm.
Oh, frankly, empowerment starts way before empowering anybody. So, first of all, you have to look for the right person, right?
Hmm.
So you have to first of all hire the right person, and hiring the right person does not happen by chance, right?
Hmm.
So you have to be involved. You have to be part of the discussion in the industry that is going on. You should identify people way before you need them, right? So
Hmm.
when you hire those people, right, then basically it's easier for you to empower them, right?
Hmm.
Because you know that you have hired a good mature person, and with the
Hmm.
right kind of skills and attitude is the most important thing. Then you tell them that what needs to be done, give them the authority that they need, and then agree the results with them, the kind of
Hmm.
results which is expected, and if they should have and what kind of resources and authority they want to get those results. Once you do that, then leave them to do their job.
Hmm.
Now, this is probably the if I stop here, this is probably the ideal way of doing it. There is one thing, however, which I do is, I have a threshold. I keep monitoring if a person is on track, doing certain things that is expected of him, and if he's not, then I will, evaluate his performance later. But for that moment, this, completion and the result is most important to me. So I'll just jump in myself.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's healthy, sometimes it's not, but as I said, that that's my way of doing things.
Hmm. Uh, Sir, how do you solve your problems?
Solve. uh okay, well, it depends, frankly. It depends on the problem, frankly. I mean, sometimes I mean, sometimes I do it quickly and as a matter of fact,
Hmm.
because the parameters or the directions are inbuilt into my value system, that this particular problem should be resolved in this way, and let's not waste any time on this. And then I just very quickly act on my feeders in such a situation, and I take an action. Good or bad, I'm not saying, but this is how it is. Now, the other thing is that for more complex issues related to business or technical and all that, there are multiple tools that I use. uh, and once under I'm in a position to understand the problem, and then I forget about all the tools and all, and then I make a decision based on whatever I have understood. So again, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it does work more times than not. And I would suggest to people to learn about decision making techniques, problem solving techniques, critical thinking, all of these things, which of course we don't don't teach our kids, our students in university and schools. And what we teach them is something that they can, in any case, learn later on. But anyway, that's another very big discussion, and there is a lot of efforts going on. Not only just now, but for many years, people have been working on it. Things have changed somewhat, but believe me, these changes take place when there is a need or a requirement or a demand from the students themselves, from the parents themselves. Only then these things change. So parents and students should be more aware of what they would be needing in the future.
सर मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूंगी व्हाट वाज योर फर्स्ट सैलरी, बिकॉज हमारे यहाँ लोग जो है ना स्टार्ट से ही बड़ा परेशान हो जाते हैं कि यार स्टार्ट में ये हो रहा है और वो, व्हाट वाज योर फर्स्ट सैलरी?
देखिए, मेरी फर्स्ट सैलरी जो थी वो 6,000 थी, 6,000 रुपए, और दिस वाज 1991। और जाहिर बात है बहुत ही स्टार्टिंग सैलरी थी, और उस वक्त इसी किस्म की सैलरीज मिलती थी। लेकिन ये कि उस ज़माने में फ्रैंकली आई वाज नॉट, और आई डोंट थिंक एनीबडी वाज लुकिंग फॉर सैलरी। व्हाट वी वर लुकिंग फॉर वाज द लर्निंग अपॉर्चुनिटी, कि एक साल 2 साल जो है वो हम लग के किसी जगह काम करें, and then we will be in a position to judge ourselves कि हमारी क्या मार्केट वैल्यू हो सकती है, राइट? यूनिवर्सिटी से निकलते ही सैलरी की एक्सपेक्टेशन करना यकीनन होना चाहिए। लोगों की, कुछ लोगों के जेन्युइन इश्यूज भी होते हैं, राइट? लेकिन आप लोगों को, स्टूडेंट्स को ये समझना चाहिए कि अगर आप 3 साल या 4 साल की एक डिग्री कर रहे हैं तो डोंट थिंक कि 4 साल की डिग्री है, कंसिडर इट 6 साल की डिग्री और 7 साल की डिग्री, बिकॉज यू विल रियली स्टार्ट अर्निंग एटलीस्ट 2, 2.5, 3 साल के बाद, जब आपके स्किल्स डेवलप होंगी, आप अपने आप को कुछ एक आध चीज़ अचीव कर चुके होंगे, लोगों का कॉन्फिडेंस आपके ऊपर बिल्ड हो गया होगा, ओनली देन यू कैन थिंक ऑफ लुकिंग एट सैलरीज। Just look at learning initially। और हमने भी यही किया था, 24 घंटे, नॉट रियली 24, बट 18 घंटे तो काम जरूर करते थे। इन्वायरमेंट ही ऐसी थी, और हमने जानबूझ के अपने आप को, आई एम सेइंग हम, इसका मतलब है हमारे साथ और भी जो लोग थे, हमने अपने आप को डाला था उस सिचुएशन में, एंड वी यूज्ड टू हेट इट ऑफ कोर्स, लेकिन फायदा हुआ बाद में।
सर अब मैं आपसे पूछूंगी, फेलियर्स को सबने फेस किया होता है, और समटाइम्स ऐसा होता है कि स्टार्ट में कोई फेस करता है तो वो वहां पे क्विट कर देते हैं, तो आपके भी फेलियर्स थे या आपने फेस किया उनको?
हाँ, बहुत फेलियर्स थे, बहुत हैं, और होंगे। मैं आपको अगर बताने बैठूंगा तो बहुत लंबा टाइम चाहिए होगा, और हर लेवल पे रहे हैं फेलियर्स। ऐसा नहीं होता कि किसी एक वक्त पे, हर वक्त पे जिंदगी में आपका कोई ना कोई फेलियर हो सकता है। द इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग इज लर्न फ्रॉम इट एंड मूव अहेड। अच्छा, अब कहना बहुत आसान है, सब यही कहते हैं। द इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग इज फेलियर की सिचुएशन में यूजुअली क्या होता है कि, मैं अपनी बात कर रहा हूँ, यूजुअली क्या होता है कि आप बिल्कुल डिसअपॉइंट हो जाते हैं, क्रश हो जाते हैं, कुछ अरसे के लिए एक टेम्पररी डिप्रेशन में चले जाते हैं, राइट? द इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग इज कि वहाँ से आप बाउंस बैक कैसे करते हैं, राइट? नाउ मुझे नहीं पता कि कैसे करते हैं, राइट? ये अल्लाह मियां की तरफ से होता है, या ये कि आपकी तरबियत की वजह से होता है, लेकिन ये कि ये बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ है, बाउंस बैक करना, और ये समझना कि ये मेरी गलती थी भी। अगर फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल गलती होती नहीं है अक्सर, लेकिन अगर थी भी मेरी तो ठीक है, फाइन, मैंने इसे लर्न कर लिया, अब नहीं करूँगा, राइट। और अपने आप को ज़बरदस्ती उठाना और आगे चलना, this is again something probably to learn, I don't know, or maybe to get coaching on, but this is important.
अच्छा सर, अब हमारे पास टाइम बहुत शॉर्ट है, लेकिन मैं लास्ट में ज़रूर आपसे पूछना चाहूँगी, टेल मी अबाउट अ प्रोजेक्ट और अकम्प्लिशमेंट दैट यू कंसिडर इज मोस्ट सिग्निफिकेंट इन योर करियर।
अगेन देखें, जैसे मैंने आपसे कहा कि बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं, प्रोफेशनली भी और पर्सनली भी। प्रोफेशनली ऑब्वियसली एक बड़ी चीज़ जो है जिसकी वजह से मेरा करियर जो है वो टर्न अराउंड हुआ, और आई मीन नॉट रियली टर्न अराउंड, बट जिसकी वजह से एक्सेलरेट हुआ, वो ये था कि व्हेन आई वाज ट्रांसफर्ड फ्रॉम कराची टू इस्लामाबाद टेरिटरी में, उस वक्त हम बिल्कुल हमारा प्रेजेंस बिल्कुल भी नहीं था, and then we developed our business there, and then it became very, very successful in 2 to 3 years time. So that I consider of course a professional achievement, but more than that, I'm happy about something else. When I went to Islamabad, I asked my management and especially my boss that I want to hire 12 young fresh graduates from the universities, and I want to train them from day one. So I got approval, and then we made a small team, and I went out to FAST and NUST and where else? I think we went to 2-3 other universities, and we hired 12 people. 9 of them joined, 3 joined somewhere else, but 9 of them joined, and only I think 2 of them are still with IBM. The remaining are at different places all over the world. But when I look at those 9, I am always so proud. I'm always so proud. It's not that I did anything myself alone. I mean, it was the whole IBM environment and other people's, coaching. My part was there as well. But I think that was such a good experience, and that was such a good thing that, I still feel that I gave 9 successful people to wherever they are right now. So that's a really, really achievement that I feel about, I think about, and I feel good and I smile.
Great. Sir, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking out your टाइम फ्रॉम योर बिजी स्केड्यूल, और बहुत अच्छा लगा आपसे बात करके, और बहुत जो है वो वंस अगेन थैंक यू सो मच। तो इंशाल्लाह फिर हम अल्लाह हाफिज।
अल्लाह हाफिज, बहुत शुक्रिया।
अल्लाह हाफिज,
बहुत शुक्रिया
जी। तो ये हमारे साथ थे मिस्टर अदनान सिद्दीकी दुबई से, और नो मैटर वेयर एवर यू आर, यू कैन बी पार्ट ऑफ CXO फोरम बिकॉज इट्स अ ग्लोबल प्लेटफॉर्म, और आप कहीं भी हैं पाकिस्तान में, पाकिस्तान से बाहर आप हमारे फोरम को ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं। तो इंशाल्लाह हम सैटरडे को दोबारा 6 PM हाजिर होंगे अपने एक नए गेस्ट के साथ। टिल देन, अल्लाह हाफिज।